Shalom mishpacha, welcome to this cooking vlog, and on the menu today are these chicken thighs, seared broccoli, cucumber and apple salad, super refreshing, and this delicious crispy kugel poached salmon, followed by this cardamom-berry crisp for dessert, and of course a golden challah. Welcome to my channel, a small sanctuary where we live our Judaism with beauty, intention and meaning. And let's gather our supplies for some challah baking. So, sugar, salt, all-purpose flour, yeast, turmeric, keep that one in mind, eggs, of course, and loads of them, and olive oil. And what we're going to do is first we're going to awaken our yeast with water and sugar, and add our eggs as per the instructions of the recipe. Add our olive oil and a cup of sugar and our turmeric. I ended up doubling this recipe because I wanted a lot of challah. I have a large-ish family, so a lot of enthusiastic mouths to feed, but doubling up the recipe worked just fine. The recipe called for hand kneading after using your KitchenAid to really develop that gluten, and then covering it with a bit of olive oil and letting the dough proof for 3 hours. So that is what I did, and look at how beautifully it has risen. Let's go. Punching down the dough is so satisfying. Look at that beautiful stretch and fold as the gluten has developed. And first things first, taking challah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להפריש challah מן העיסה.
I'm making 2 4-stranded challahs and 2 5-stranded challahs, so stay tuned as I carve up the dough. I do that, let me tell you a little bit about how I got this cookbook, or rather how my husband got this cookbook, because I bought it for him last Hanukkah, and only now during my summer break do I have a chance to cook from it, and I'm super excited to try these versatile, delicious and beautiful recipes from Adeena Sussman. So a shout out to Adeena Sussman for writing a beautiful, beautiful piece of work that is easygoing yet creative for the home cook. As you can see, I am apportioning and starting to braid my 4-stranded challah. I have a tutorial about this in my challah playlist, so if you want to know more, please go check that one out. First 4-stranded challah done. Let's do the second one, which is a good opportunity for a refresher course, so feel free to join me. Braiding an even number of braids is a little trickier because it's easier to lose your way, but just remember, always keep working to the middle. Imagine this challah having 2 arms and 2 legs, and you bring the arms towards the middle as you spread out the legs. See my more complete tutorial in the challah playlist for more dedicated instructions. She is now done and ready to proof. We are going to up the ante with a 5-braided challah, which is a little bit more complicated but well worth your time to learn. I have to refresh my own memory every time I do this, and basically it all revolves around twisting strands 2 and 3 around each other, bringing strand 5 over and putting it down between strands 1 and 2 and following this pattern. There are several YouTube tutorials. Again, I refer back to these in my challah playlist, and we are going to watch this twice so that you can get the hang of it. The important part of this challah is after you've braided it and tucked under the end is to do exactly this motion. Kind of fluff it out by putting your fingers underneath and spreading out the braids a little bit. This allows for a beautiful rise. So sit back and relax because we get to do it all again with our second 5-stranded challah. Meanwhile, look at what I'm doing here. I am flattening out my dough and then rolling it out. And it sounds counterintuitive, but this actually leads to not only a more even strand that's smooth and easy to work with, but a better rise as you fold it in on itself and increase the tension. We have partitioned the challah into 2 groups, and we are going to follow the same system again. So 2 and 3 twist it over each other, bring 5 in between 1 and 2, take 1 and bring it over to become 2, and then twist it around 3, and keep on following this pattern. Feel free to stop the video, rewind it, and study it until you got it. Just keep trying. What works well with your 5-stranded challah is turning it a quarter after finishing braiding it, and then kind of rolling it gently just to loosen up the braids and do that fluffing motion again so that you fluff it up and allow for a better and more even rise. And you get this beautiful diagonal pattern on the braids, which is great fun as well. I allowed my challahs to prove for an hour. And now I'm going to dust them with this fun little thumb technique with everything but the basil seasoning and water. So first an egg wash, and I'm using just the yolk because if you use just the yolk, it leads to a more dark color and it's very beautiful because it really turns this deep bronze. Dip your thumb in the water and then in your mix and then just press it on. I sometimes scatter it all over, that's fine too, but this is a little bit more elegant and refined for my little leopard spot challahs. So here we go, and they are ready to go in the oven. I really like this challah recipe. It was a lot sweeter than my European style challah, which is not sweet at all, but it was rich and beautiful and succulent and fluffy. And the turmeric might have added some flavor, but I think it was mostly for looks. Next time I'm going to combine Rogi Pinson's challah recipe, which calls for vanilla extract, with this and add vanilla and turmeric and see what happens. The oven is still hot and I'm in the baking mood, so let's continue baking this delicious berry crisp with cardamom. This could not have been an easier recipe with frozen berries, sugar, lemon juice and cardamom. I thought I had ground cardamom on hand, but I did not. So let's do this the old-fashioned way. I peeled the pods and ground them up and it worked fine. The advantage was that the flavor and the aroma was super fresh and very present in the crisp, which was delightful. Here I'm mixing in half the cardamom, a little bit of all-purpose flour, melted par of butter or margarine, coating the whole thing and then baking it in the oven and done. This chicken was amazing and so worth your effort, so let's do this. This dish has a lot of ingredients. Some of them I have had to adapt. So your ingredients are thyme, mustard, white wine, honey, red grapes, lemons, chicken, chili flakes, pepper, and salt. I was supposed to use figs for this dish, as well as Ceylon, which is a date syrup. And because I couldn't get figs, I decided to switch them out with plums, and I'm just going to add some dates instead of the syrup. And that should compensate nicely. You also need a little bit of cornstarch for a slurry you need to make for the sauce. So let's get to it. This recipe isn't hard. It just has a number of different steps. First, you're gonna make your slurry. And if it's lumpy, don't worry too much about it. It will all even out in the oven. So I'm adding my Dijon mustard right here, as well as my honey, and that will emulsify nicely if you give it a good stir. Add in your lemon juice. Salt, of course, and chili pepper flakes. Cracked black pepper freshly ground and stir again. Time to salt your chicken and do so generously. And we're going to heat up that cast iron skillet and pan fry it first to brown it. Listen to that sizzle. Remove the chicken and add in the onions to saute them in the same pan in the same juices. Make sure your onions are browned as well and really let that caramelization kick in. This is a very liquidy dish, so the more crunch you can add, the better. Time to add in our wine to make a reduction, and then we are going to add our slurry. Allow this to reduce and thicken, but don't overcook it because you want it to go in the pan after you've added your fruit. The grapes were the great surprise and delight of this dish. I cook with dried fruits aplenty, but the fresh grapes fill up with the juices of the chicken and become these succulent little flavor bombs that make this dish really unique. So do not skip those grapes. Cover with tin foil and then bake in the oven, and remove the tin foil just before serving for 15 minutes of exposed browning to really get the crunch going. It is a perfect dish, and this will be on repeat in my family. Here it is. I have a lot of praise for this unassuming but amazing kugel. Let's make this. First, cut up your russet potatoes after peeling them and your onion, and then we are going to grind them. This dish is comfort food in a Pyrex dish. It is Hanukkah in July. It is everything you want it to be, and it is so simple. These pure ingredients really shine on their own. Potatoes, onions, all-purpose flour, salt, pepper. That's it, and the magic happens. We are in the home stretch, friends. Time for some sides with this cucumber and apple salad. Again, very simple. Cucumbers, apples, and the hack was to put your apple cider vinegar in the microwave and heating it up before dissolving your sugar. This was a beautiful, subtle, sophisticated dish. All you need to do is poach your salmon in all of these goodies and shred your zucchini with a shredder. Now we're going to make these seared broccoli steaks. Listen to the sizzle. Then steam the broccoli with some water in the pan. Star of the show is this wonderful vinaigrette with capers and red onions that you pour over your broccoli. All is done and time to sit down and eat and enjoy this beautiful meal, giving you a tour of our table. And here it is, the kugel, the chicken, the salads, the broccoli, and of course the berry crisp. I felt like these recipes were pretty foolproof and excellent for the home cook. The meat was succulent and sweet and savory with that great combination of the fruit and the wine and chicken juices. The kugel was the big surprise hit. Glorious in its simplicity, it really shone as a great accompaniment to the complex flavors of the other dishes. The challah was amazing, and even though it was much sweeter than I make it, I will make it again. We had leftovers all weekend, and I'm sorry I didn't get some of the footage that I should have, but still my kids approved, as did our guests, and here you see another plated lunch. The challah looked beautiful, and here I am enjoying a little bit of an afternoon tea with some of that berry crisp. Here are some stills to enjoy the food in all of its glory. Thank you for joining me for a fun, amazing cooking journey, cracking open a new to me cookbook, and let me know some of your favorite dishes in the comments. Do you ever cook with Adeena Sussman's recipes? Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Shalom uvracha with peace and blessings from my bite to your bite. Bye.